Welcome to Solutions for Higher Education, a podcast by Scott L. Wyatt, president of Southern Utah University in Cedar City, Utah. To subscribe to this podcast, please visit www.suu.edu/President's Podcast, where you will find both the audio and a written transcript for today's podcast. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Solutions for Higher Education, a podcast featuring Scott L. Wyatt, the president of Southern Utah University in Cedar City, Utah. I'm your host, Steve Meredith, and I am joined today in the kitchen area of our beautiful recording facility, as I always am, by President Wyatt. Scott, how are you today?
Yeah, this is a terrific recording studio. We're either in an abandoned bedroom or a kitchen or somewhere.
Yeah, I think this actually is the dining room area that we're in today. Anyway, I always like to try to paint a visual picture, for our listeners at home. If they're imagining that we're sitting in a palatial recording studio somewhere, you're welcome to come by anytime and see where we make the sausage here.
Yeah, we're sitting around a kitchen table. There's a very old
and dim,
at one time fancy chandelier hanging above.
Yeah, with one remaining light bulb, actually. So, yeah. Anyway, that's where we are today, and we, as always, are glad to be here. President, this year... Sorry, go ahead.
Steve, I should probably finish that. So the house that we're in was donated to the university.
It was.
And
built in, I think, 1952 or something. So yeah. It's an old mid-century
But it was a nice house in 1952.
A beautiful house. Yep.
Yeah. It's been really a great asset.
And we love it. As the Center for Music Technology, I will say, as the guy that's had the hand in not only building the facility but the program that surrounds it, we love the old Bradshaw house, and we're glad to be here. So this year's podcasts, we've settled on a theme that is innovation in higher education, lessons learned. And so we are going to be hosting guests that are going to be talking with us about their very innovative programs and some of the great successes that we've had, but also the lessons that we've learned, both positively and negatively along the way, as you in particular, President, have tried to lead the university toward more innovative programs and innovative thinking. And so we, as our listeners tune in, I feel like I ought to make sure that they all understand what it is that we're doing here. And we have with us a special guest that is absolutely makes the case for innovative thinking and new programs that really were old programs once and completely revitalized. Why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest?
It is a pleasure to have Ken Hall with us today. Ken, thanks for joining.
My pleasure to be here.
Ken, director of the Master of Business Administration program. I think it's easy to tell, Steve, what programs are going to grow and which ones aren't, and it mostly has to do with who's running them. So this will be a fun topic for us today.
It will.
Ken, why don't you start? You're a Harvard MBA, spent a lot of years working in industry, leading successful companies. Why don't we start out with your life story in a nutshell?
So it's fairly random, but an exciting journey. I graduated with a chemical engineering degree and actually made gasoline for Exxon for about 5 years. At that point, went back, got an MBA from Harvard Business School, and at that point thought I was going to go and run some large industrial manufacturing company someplace. But I got a great opportunity to go do some management consulting with Bain & Company and saw lots of different companies and helped them with kind of strategic direction, mainly the areas that I worked in. One of the companies that was a client of ours was PetSmart. And so I spent about a year on an engagement at PetSmart, helping them with a strategic turnaround. And then from there, joined PetSmart. I was their chief marketing officer for 5 or 6 years, ran all of their merchandising and strategic planning. Never in the world thought that I would go from making gasoline to making television commercials to sell cat toys and dog food. But just loved it. Did that for about a dozen years.
Well, and that company has been a success.
It was amazing. It was a wonderful experience. When I started there, the stock price had gone from $30 down to $3. And then we came in, helped with a turnaround, and the stock price would then climb back up over 30, and then eventually the company would go private after I left. Stock was around $85. So great success, great turnaround story, great people. After about a dozen years there, I got an invitation from my church to do a volunteer assignment. I did a 3-year volunteer assignment as a mission president for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Southern California. And then following that, thought I was going to retire. We moved to St. George. My wife's family's there. Had a wonderful year hiking Zion, and just decided that was the wrong thing for me at the time. And so I had a wonderful neighbor who introduced me to the dean of the business school, and then after a year as an adjunct, was brought on part-time as the MBA director, and then full-time the next year. So it's been a wonderful, exciting ride.
Yeah, I think you're younger than both Steve and I, so you shouldn't be retired.
Yeah.
No, that's something I learned very quickly. That was a bad idea.
Although taking a year off to just hike around sounds like fun.
Yeah.
In fact, that would be nirvana for the president.
Just 1 year. If you knew that you had something great.
That's
waiting.
right.
That was the key. And I think as I looked at it, I realized that I had a strong need to contribute. And I had some flexibility to decide what I wanted to do. And to be honest, I loved being around this young people. I loved being able to be in the area of management and leadership, and teaching has always been something that I've loved to do. And so it just was a wonderful combination, and it's just been fantastic people here at Southern Utah.
Well, it feels like we're PetSmart Part 2 for you.
Yeah, a little bit. I think I would think of it that way, and it's been another enjoyable ride.
When I arrived at Southern Utah University in January of 14, but we usually look at our numbers for fall. So the first fall after I arrived, the Master of Business program had a grand total of 13 students in the face-to-face program.
Yeah.
And the online program had just taken off, just barely started, but there were only 11.
Yep.
So this was a really small program, and we were worried about what was going to happen. And over the next couple years, it kind of stayed about the same until you arrived.
Yeah, we saw some growth, and I wasn't here when we had those low numbers when you started. But one of the things that shortly went into place thereafter was starting up an online component of our MBA program. And I think in some ways that online component actually provided a little bit of a lifeline for a few years so that the program could continue and didn't fade away.
What's interesting about online, before we do that, let's look at some of the numbers. Tell us what's happened with the program in terms of numbers, online, face-to-face. Where are you at now?
Sure. So as you mentioned, we had a point where we had about maybe 30 students total in the program. When I started, we had about 73 that were enrolled total in the MBA program. That number would grow a little bit over the next couple years. We hit a record year of 84. And then we've made a significant effort to improve the quality and grow our online program. Right now for fall 2020, we're at 345 students. So an incredible growth when you think about, when you started, we were about 34. So it's been an amazing ride. And this past year, we've seen the vast majority of that growth coming since January of this past year.
From 32 or 34 to 345, and you've got blocks, right? So
we do.
So there's a first half semester block and a second half semester block, and I think the projections are that by the end of this semester, we'll be pretty close to 400.
Very likely, yeah. So we still have a number of weeks before Fall B starts. So enrollment's still growing.
That's stunning growth, Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 32 to 345. That's 10 times, more than 10 times.
It's been impressive. One of the things I'm excited about, it's nice to see the numbers grow. Absolutely. There's a lot of positives that come with growth. But one of the things I think we're most proud of is our admission standards have stayed the same, and the quality, especially the quality of our online classes, has increased during this time as we've had to relook at all of our classes. We put them through a rigorous course redesign process. Each one of our online classes now has gone through a Quality Matters review. Quality Matters is kind of an industry standard for high quality online courses. All of our courses have gone through that. We have not done that before. And so in addition to the growth, we've also been able to step back and say, and we're offering better online classes today than we did yesterday. And so that's satisfying.
There's one program on campus that I won't mention the name because we're every university's got programs that need a little help and some that are just doing phenomenal. But I was talking to a student in one of the other programs, and he said, an undergraduate program, and he said, if the classes were a bit more rigorous, I think this would grow a lot more.
Yeah.
Students are not attracted to easy. They're attracted to something that they know is worth their investment, especially for master's degrees.
Absolutely. The vast majority of our students, especially online, but also in our face-to-face classes, they're working professionals. These are students mainly who are continuing to work, but have realized that they're at a point in their career where they need some additional skills. They need to be able to be a better manager, be a better leader, to be able to take that next responsibility. And so they're making a financial and a time commitment because they see the opportunity that they need to progress in their career. It does them no good. Most students just getting an MBA doesn't check any box. It's they need to be more qualified for the next promotion. So they're hungry to learn and they want to learn. And I think one of the reasons that's helped support this growth is we've been able to tap into that group of working professionals who truly want to make a greater contribution and don't want to or are unable to quit a career for a year or two, to put life on hold for a year or two. More than half our students, 53% of our students, are 30 years old or above, and 15% are over 40. And so we do have maybe a more non-traditional student base, but I think because of that, they're much more interested in, can you help me be a better leader? Can you help me be a better manager? The MBA degree, the letters after their name don't really matter. What really matters for them is, can I take my team to the next level?
Yeah, it seems like, at least in my experience, that your degree or where you got it or any number of those kinds of factors help you get your first job. But after your first job, nothing matters again.
Yep.
It's just you.
It's just, yeah, absolutely.
And so for most of the people in your MBA program, they're already in their first job.
Yeah, and many they're second or third.
Or second or third, yeah. Well, what do you think is the main key to the growth?
So I think there's a couple things. First, I think there is an element of awareness. So awareness of the program, marketing of the program, letting people know what we offer, and the reputation of the program. As that becomes more widely available, then more people have it in their consideration set. I think the other thing is recognizing that I can get a really high quality degree, but with the flexibility to match the unique things that I have. I'm working now. I don't know if I could take 2 or 3 classes at a time. So our courses are 7 weeks. Many of our students that are working professionals will take 2 classes a semester, but they'll take them one at a time, 1 7-week and then a second 7-week course. That kind of flexibility, that ability to focus just on one course at a time, hey, I could do a course and keep working. So the awareness is one, but the quality of the program, we're teaching you the skills that you need to get that next promotion or to take your team to the next level. And it fits with the unique situation that I have as a working professional trying to raise a young family, where I may not have the access to get an education another way, or may not have the ability to, pay a couple $100,000 for a big name 2-year residential program. So access and affordability, I think, have been really key for the students that we have in our program.
And you've shifted the program to blocks.
We have.
So that's, by blocks, we mean half a semester length. Semester credits, but...
Yep.
So instead of starting in the fall or the spring, there are now 6 entry points.
That's correct, yes.
2 entry points in the fall, 2 in the spring, 2 in the summer. And in fact, this fits completely into the university's 3-year bachelor's degree program, which means you can get a bachelor's degree in 3 years. I think your undergraduate programs, every one of them in the business school, can be done in a 3-year block.
That's correct, yes.
And the graduate program fits into that, so you can move through that a little bit more quickly as well because of the full summer opportunities. A 3-year degree doesn't mean you get done in 3 years. It means you get done in 3 years, but you go into the summers.
That's right. That's right.
So you're doing the same work.
Yep.
You're just not wasting the summers.
One thing that's interesting, and it may be a little bit more unique with the graduate student, but they're working 12 months a year. There isn't a summer off. There's not a fall semester. And so one of the things that we've learned about our potential students is they wake up one day and realize, I need to be better. I need to be a better manager, better leader. I don't want to wait until fall when I have that epiphany in February, right? So the ability to say, I need more skills. I want to learn more, be better. When's the next class start? Oh, it starts in 3 or 4 weeks. There's always another start date for them. And so that's been a big benefit, I think.
Ken, a few questions about this. One is there has been concerns on campus generally that if the university expands online program offerings, which are not designed to compete with the face-to-face, but designed to reach out to those that, as you described, that can't give up their jobs and move to take a program. But there's been some fear that if we expand online, it would hurt the reputation of the school, or that it would hurt the enrollments in the face-to-face program. What's happened here?
So at least for the MBA program, we've seen our face-to-face be very, very strong. It's continued. We actually saw our face-to-face numbers more than double last year as we were beginning the ramp up for this online program. So we have not seen that cannibalization, the shrinking of face-to-face with this. Matter of fact, if anything, we've seen our awareness grow, and that has actually caused more people to come into our face-to-face program. So we anticipate that our face-to-face program is going to continue to grow and probably be more vibrant and robust and strong because of the awareness and the rigor and the structure that we've got on the online side. So we've not seen that kind of trade-off. The other thing, we also heard that comment a lot that online classes aren't as good, or they're too easy, or if you have a big online program, that's somehow going to diminish the quality or value of your face-to-face. And one of the things that we keep telling ourselves is we control the quality. We own the quality of that online course. And if we deliver a poor online course, then that's bad on us. But there's no reason that the online course should be of a lower quality or lower rigor. Matter of fact, all of our courses are equivalent online and on campus. It's the same course taught by the same faculty. Our admission standards to the program are the same whether you're online or whether you're face-to-face. And that has been really important, I think, for us and for our faculty to know that we're not lowering our standards. We're not lowering the quality. If anything, we're recognizing that maybe we weren't that good at teaching online. Even though we've had online courses for years, we maybe didn't invest in ourselves to become great online instructors. And that's something now that we're starting to do more and more. So making sure that the quality remains the same, we control that. And that was just a decision we made early on, that we're going to have one program, two modalities, and we're not going to let one be of lower quality.
So as you've grown the online, you've become more intentional about how you teach and increased the quality of the classes.
Absolutely.
That's added to the reputation of the school, and the face-to-face classes have actually grown as a result.
Yes.
But clearly the online classes have grown, and that has extended the opportunities to people that otherwise wouldn't have gotten an education.
Very much so.
And what's happened with the faculty?
So it's been really interesting. When you start looking at growth that is measured in multiples, not percent, you have to have people to teach those classes. And so and we've been incredibly well supported from the university, but we've been able to bring on 6 or 7 faculty already. We're going to go out with another 3 faculty that we're going to start recruiting for this fall in the School of Business. And so the number of faculty that we've got has increased significantly in the School of Business as a whole. And then the way that we operate within the School of Business is we don't have faculty that are assigned specifically to a graduate program or specifically to online. So really what it's allowed us to do, if I look at the management faculty, we've been able to bring on 3 new management faculty, 4 if you include our operations new faculty that we just brought on board, into our faculty. And they bring new skills, new experiences. And so it's not just that our faculty group has grown, but that we've actually been able to bring in more specialized skill sets. We've got a new faculty member that's just come in with a real deep understanding of strategy. And so now we've got a new faculty member that's broadening the depth of experiences that our faculty team has. And each faculty will probably teach an online course, a face-to-face course. They may teach in the graduate program, may teach undergrad. And so the new faculty that have come in have actually enhanced all of our programs, not just the MBA, not just the online MBA, but that influence of that new faculty pool growing and deepening. We're seeing that benefit across undergraduate, face-to-face, and online as well.
The specialization of your faculty is broadening.
It is, yeah. Instead of 2 or 3 faculty that have to teach all the courses, now we can bring someone who's research focused, whose academic experience and training may be a little bit more unique or a little bit more specialized, which just, again, it enhances the offering that we're able to deliver.
It has seemed to me that the faculty in your program have always been really great.
Oh, we have fantastic faculty in the School of Business. I joke. So I live in St. George, which is about an hour from here, and I drive past another very good regional university every day to come up to Cedar City. And people say, "Well, why do you do that? Why don't you just teach down there?" And my answer is always the same. I come here because I love the people I work with. The faculty that we've got in the School of Business have been amazing. They're bright, they're intelligent, they're passionate about teaching their students. I love the direction that the university's going.
Why don't you tell us what some of the big challenges have been?
I think one of the biggest challenges when we started the plans to grow our online, we had estimates that it was going to grow significantly. And there was some questioning, are those estimates real or not? And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you're looking at it, they've been actually more than realized. But I think one of the big challenges was, how are we going to resource? How do we start this ball rolling? There's a huge investment up front in redesigning the courses to increase the quality of our online courses, to convert them from 14 weeks to 7 weeks. There's faculty that are going to need to teach these courses as we're ramping up. It would have been very unwise to start hiring faculty before we knew if the projections were actually going to be real or not. So I think one of the biggest effort was that initial getting things started. And it required a lot of faith, all right, we're going to try this. to get that flywheel moving. Jim Collins wrote a book, Good to Great, 20 plus years ago, but he talks about a flywheel, and starting the ball rolling, I think was really hard, mainly because everyone's busy doing their current jobs and teaching our current programs, and to make the investment to improve, to launch something new, and to get started, all had to get going. And so we were very fortunate. We had just an amazing faculty group that said, okay, we're going to give you a chance. We're going to put in some extra effort up front, and we're going to see if that's going to come. And then as we started to see some of those results, wow, new faculty are coming on board. Okay, hey, my class is better now than it used to be. Hey, this isn't so bad. Hey, we can make this work. And getting the ball started with those upfront efforts, I think, was one of the challenges.
Well, and it actually took a lot of faith on the part of the faculty, because administration doesn't always respond the way faculty would expect. And so there's a natural worry,
skepticism. Yeah,
cynicism. That's a great word.
Yeah.
Will they in fact give us resources, or are we going to be stuck like this? So that's a real difficulty.
I think that was the biggest concern that I heard, was we're going to be asked to do this, resources won't come, and then we're going to have to do more without the resources to support it. And so we just kind of had almost a mantra, a theme of, we need the resources to support the growth. And I still remember one of the conversations I had with one of the department chairs in the School of Business, where I came in and I said, hey, we need to go out and hire 2 new faculty for your department. And this department chair said, I've been here for 25 years. We've replaced faculty as they've moved on or retired. We've not added new faculty to my department, in a couple of decades. This is a new thing. We're really going to get supported. And I think once they saw that the resources were going to be there to support the growth, that had a huge ability to help take those first few steps, that leap of faith, if you will.
Yeah. And just in the last year or so, the faculty for the entire college has grown. And you're just we're talking about one program within the college.
Yeah.
But the entire faculty for the college has grown by about 25%.
That's correct. Yep. And if the numbers keep coming, we're trying to figure out how we're going to continue to do that. But you can see that the growth has brought some really. It's always easier to manage a program, a company in a growth mode, even with the challenges, than it is in a declining mode. And so with the growth mode, extra resources are coming in, extra students are coming in, everything from faculty to student fees to activities. And so the programs just get better. Everyone benefits from that growth, as now you're able to scale and become more efficient while bringing on additional resources.
And that new faculty blood is so important to moving a program forward, because so often, I say this now speaking primarily of my own experience, but so often once a faculty is really well ensconced over a number of years, that skepticism that we were talking about tends to grow. And so starting new programs becomes even more difficult. There's that inert quality to the thing. Hey, I just kind of want to be left alone. This is what I'm doing. This is the way it's always been. And so having a new perspective, a new faculty person who doesn't bring any baggage, either positive or negative, with them to what has happened before, and having them have that really clear eye, just dispassionately look at this new job they've been hired into, can have a really positive effect on a program. Have you found that? I only speak about this, Ken, because I know that sometimes as a faculty ages, these kinds of innovative practices become harder and harder to implement. Has it helped you to have new blood?
I think so, absolutely. And one of the things I think that has been really fun to watch, and obviously I'm relatively new to higher ed, we have a lot of very experienced, tenured, very senior faculty, And then a lot of our newer faculty are coming in as junior faculty, tenure track, but not yet tenured. And so the mentoring opportunities have really been dramatic. We were just talking about this last week, looking at our faculty and their service assignments and the different ways that they contribute. And the number of our senior faculty now that have 2 or 3 junior faculty that they're mentoring and helping along that path, that is a whole new dynamic where now you've got this wonderful faculty who's been here for, we've got a faculty member now who's been in the School of Business for, I think it was 42 years we talked about yesterday, who now is sitting down with the faculty who's just starting on their career, fresh out of graduate school for a year or two. And having those two paired up where you've got this voice of experience and knowledge and just this wealth of understanding to sit down with a new faculty who's energetic and enthusiastic, fired up, but doesn't quite have that knowledge set yet. The pairing and this mentoring, I think that alone has re-energized the school in some way because, I really believe everyone wants to contribute, and they want to contribute in a way that's meaningful. And now when I've got a faculty member who's, like you said, who's been here for a few decades and they've got this rich experience and now has the ability to take 1 or 2 junior faculty under their wings and say, hey, let me kind of share some of the things I know. That's energy. That's motivating.
It gives the senior faculty member a chance to reinvigorate and reinvent themselves a little bit too. I've said often, you and I were chatting before we went on the air, because I run the graduate program in music technology, and we've experienced similarly, not similar to you guys have been off the charts, but we've had tremendous growth as well. And what I've discovered is that I've kept saying to myself, music technology is really kind of a young person's game. You have to really want to stay current and do all that stuff. But as I've brought in new adjuncts and other things, I find that I, even as long in the tooth as I am as a faculty member, I catch that enthusiasm from them and am in fact reinvigorated. So that you're right, that it's great to have that mentoring opportunity, and it's great going both ways.
It does. I think so.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm looking at some of these numbers, Ken. So I don't have the enrollment numbers for every single semester, but I've got summers and I've got fall in front of me. And face-to-face students, fall of 2016, 6 total. That's face-to-face only.
That's correct, yeah.
6. And this past summer, even with the pandemic, it was 39.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how can you be enthusiastic and energetic as a faculty member or as a student, but as a faculty member teaching in classes where the total number of students in the entire program that are face-to-face only are just 6? You might have 2 or 3 students in a class. If every student is in your class, it's 6.
That's right. That's right. And they won't be.
And they won't
Right.
be. There's a few students as well that are face-to-face and online combined.
They do both, yes.
But just to be able to walk into a class and see 30 students gives you as a faculty member, or 20 students, the sense of this program is going somewhere and my life is meaningful because I've got people that are showing up.
There's an energy that comes
Amazing
from that.
what a difference that makes.
It really is. And that energy becomes contagious because, like in any class, in any group of 6, if you get 6 people that are really quiet, that's a much more difficult thing. As you get a class of 20 or 24 or 25, you're going to have people that want to participate, and that brings out the conversation from the class, and it kind of builds upon each other as well. It's interesting. One of the things that I'm learning as I teach online more and more is how to engage our online students. And it's different. And I think there's a learning curve there. Many of us have gone into teaching because we love to be the professor at the front of the room. We're comfortable in that dynamic and to see and touch face-to-face. Teaching online is different. You have to think a little bit different. How do I engage a student if I'm not sitting face-to-face with them? And so it's forced us to think about different ways of engaging students, but still having a meaningful engagement with them. And as we're getting better at that, what I'm learning is the modality, how we deliver it, whether it's face-to-face or online, doesn't determine whether it's going to make a difference in someone's life. And we can still have a really significant impact.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it. I'm looking through some of the challenges or hurdles that you had to go through. The faculty's workload, as the school started and you started working on this program, everybody had to step up and trust that good things would come as a result.
Yes.
That's sometimes really hard.
Yeah.
Because everybody's doing a little extra work. They're not necessarily getting paid extra for it. They had to shift from semester-long courses to half-semester blocks because we learned that that's what the working professionals prefer. And then that forced your face-to-face programs to change, didn't it?
It did. As we grew and the online began to grow, we had this wonderful kind of course schedule that really worked well. What we began to realize is a lot of our face-to-face students wanted some of those same benefits. They wanted the flexibility. If I need to step out for a period of time, that I don't have to wait until next fall to get back into the program. Or if my schedule caused me that I was going to be traveling, that I could still continue in the program. We had a student that was in the armed forces and knew that there was going to be a deployment for them for a period of time. But because the classes were offered every 7 weeks, it became very easy for that student to step out during the deployment period, step right back in within a few weeks of getting home and not lose a beat in the program. So it caused us to relook at our face-to-face and say, okay, who really is our student? What do they want? And how do we make sure that our face-to-face students are not being disadvantaged or don't have the same benefits as the online student does? And at least in the MBA program, they wanted that flexibility. Many of our face-to-face students still are working professionals. They like the opportunity to focus on one course at a time. And so we did. We made some adjustments in the face-to-face program so that the scheduling of the courses were synchronized between online and face-to-face so that our face-to-face students could have the same benefits.
So all the face-to-face students are in these 7-week blocks as well.
They are, and we just started that this fall, so just past couple weeks ago. Yep.
That means they have 6 entry points each year.
They do. They do as well. And again, you've worked for PetSmart, and I remember a series of experiences that I had, which I won't get into, but imagine being a car salesman and somebody comes in and gets emotionally attached to buy a car. And if you told them that they had to wait 4 months before they could buy it, that there would be no car dealerships in this country. Right.
Because the car purchases are usually spontaneous purchases, usually. So, and the same thing going around town, that just being able to tell somebody you can start tomorrow or next week or you can start in 4 weeks is a totally different
It is.
customer service kind of thing. And why not model the kind of behavior that we want our students to have when they go out into business?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you still do see some seasonality. Our fall ASIM term is probably our largest term. But since the world doesn't work in fall and spring semesters once you leave campus.
Yeah.
And
they didn't give you summers off at PetSmart?
They didn't. Sometimes
wow.
I wished that we did have a semester break, but yeah.
Well, and you've had another challenge that I'm trying to remember, Steve and Ken. When did we open up our new business building? Were you here when we opened it up?
I was, yeah. It's been about, I want to say it's been 2 years. So.
This great, beautiful new business building, and you've outgrown it, and we're expanding into the building next door, moving people out of that building and moving you in.
Yeah.
I think everybody in the Benyon building next door are starting to worry.
It's going to be the Benyon Business Building. Is that what you're saying?
It is so interesting because, just for years, and, I've talked to some of the people that were involved on the business side with some of the design of the new business building. And literally, they had 20 years of experience. How much does the faculty grow in 20 years? And so we had extra offices and we had extra space built in and all these things. And
you blew right through it.
Just
in a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely some uncomfortable conversation. What are we going to do? Set up a tent? So we've got just a beautiful location right next door now.
So if somebody was listening in with working on a business program at another university or a program at our university, what would be your leading advice? As a business consultant, business manager, faculty member, and now program director, you've got a life of experiences. What would you say to somebody that's trying to take a program that's struggling and make it super successful?
Yeah, maybe just a couple things. I think first thing, it's hard to see something different. It always is. We're human beings. Change is hard. And so being willing to kind of unfreeze your thinking and being willing to allow the opportunity for new thoughts is kind of a starting point. You've got to be willing to explore new opportunities. The second thing, I think it's really helpful to know your students. Who are the students? Who are your potential students? Who are the students that are being served or who are not being served, probably more importantly? And as you get an understanding of your students and what they're looking for and what they need, that helps you inform what I'll call a real strategic position. And for us, as we began to do that process, okay, we've not grown online before. Let's be open to thinking about that. Who are our students? Well, they're working professionals. They want to get better in their career. They can't quit and come on campus full time. Cedar City is amazing and it's beautiful, but a lot of people can't just drop everything and move here. But they want to get better. And that allowed us to kind of put together a strategy that said, okay, we can maintain a great program. We can increase the quality of our program. And at the same time, we can improve the access that we're able to offer to our students. So being willing to explore new opportunities, understanding who your students really are, what their challenges, what their needs are, and then putting together a strategic plan or positioning to be able to meet those needs.
I'd love to circle back just 1 second to something you just said in that little paragraph. That I love the idea of looking at your students and seeing how you're meeting the needs of your current students, but especially looking at those whose needs you are not meeting. That is a hard. That's hard institutionally to do, right? Because as you've said it, you kind of have to explode your thinking. Well, how are we not meeting the needs? Because institutionally, we start in fall and spring and summer, and we make you wait for 4 months if you miss one of those, right?
That's what we do.
Well, so institutionally and it has come with some growing pains, but institutionally we've had to say, yeah, we can't make people wait like that. What are we offering in the summer? Well, who are we not serving? Well, then let's expand summer. And it's been so wonderful to see. I think it would be easy for us to say, hey, the faculty in the College of Business are entrepreneurial in their hearts anyway, and maybe they would have done this without this little extra nudge. But the fact is that regardless of whether or not you're teaching music or business or history or anything else, we all work at this same institution. And so to reform the institution from the inside is a great challenge. And your college has done an amazing job at being willing to see who they're not serving and try everything they can do to try and meet those needs.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think we've been very fortunate in the sense that, we've gotten great support from the university. We've got a dean, and Dean Mary Pearson, that very forward-thinking, very energetic, very willing to consider those new ideas and look at those new unmet or untapped needs. And that has given us, I think, the umbrella under which we've been able to do this.
Well, and you've talked about how this program has re-energized the school and the department, and seeing new faculty come in and more students. And I think that the entire department and college is going to re-energize the university, because you can't have growth and excitement in one section that doesn't have a positive effect on everything it touches.
Yeah,
That's right.
So, but congratulations to you, Ken.
Thank you.
You have been phenomenal. To go from about 30 students in the entire program, 32 or 34, up to almost 400 by the end of this semester.
It's been an amazing ride.
And it's still growing.
Astounding. Yeah. Really.
And I like to think of this in terms of, wow, what has this done for the school? But really, it's what has this done for people and families and communities and businesses, because the really high-quality program that you've got, that you have helped build into a more high-quality program, is now serving hundreds of people.
Right.
Hundreds of families, hundreds of businesses, not just dozens. What a fantastic legacy.
And I think that's probably been the greatest satisfaction. It's nice to see numbers go up. It's nice to see things, but when you're teaching class and you've got a student who's working at a power plant up in Duchesne County, who wants to go forward, who wants to do more, but is limited, can't leave, doesn't want to move, can't quit, and then to be able to hear, hey, I can put this into practice tomorrow with my team. This is going to help. That makes a difference. That's where the satisfaction and the desire to contribute come from. It's when you hear those stories of how people's lives are being changed just because we were willing to embrace something a little different.
You've been listening to Solutions for Higher Education, a podcast featuring Scott L. Wyatt, the president of Southern Utah University in Cedar City, Utah. We've had as our guest today Ken Hall, who is the program director for our Master of Business Administration program. And we've been talking about the astonishing growth and both the highs and lows of getting there. Ken, we want to thank you for joining us today. And we thank you, our devoted listeners, for tuning in. We'll be back again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to Solutions for Higher Education. To subscribe to this podcast, please visit www.suu.edu/President's Podcast, where you will find both the audio and a written transcript of today's podcast. The original music for this podcast was composed by Jack Barton, a master's degree student in music technology at SUU. For more information about Southern Utah University, please visit www.suu.edu.